Hello. Hi guys. Good evening. Audible? Am I audible? Audible, right? Or audible visible. Got it. Okay. Thank you, Muskan. Okay. So good evening, everyone. So yesterday we were supposed to start from soft diplomacy, right? Okay. So any doubts in the previous class? So let me know, please. If you have any doubts in the previous class, let me know. Am I audible? Audible, right? Clear. Clear, right? Okay. Okay. Fine. Okay, okay, all good, right? Okay, okay. So thank you. Sorry, there was a technical glitch. Okay, so chalo then. Any doubts in the previous class? Any doubts in the previous class? Please let me know. No doubts. Okay, so yeah, good evening, good evening. Okay, so Gujral doctrine, please see here. Gujral doctrine was a concept given by I.K. Gujral when he was the prime minister. The main aim of Gujral doctrine was to build a good relation with our neighbors. So that was the main aim. So what did Narasimha Rao do? He focused on the Southeast Asian region, or say East Asian region. But however, post 1995, 1996, the East Asian region was suffering from economic crisis. So as a reason, Gujarat focused on for building a good relation with the neighbors. So that is called as your that is called as your neighbor. That's called as your Gujarat doctrine. Am I audible? Someone is telling audible, right? Yeah, no, please, yeah, no, there's no technical issue as of now. Okay, no, now please focus on no technical issues. Everything is sorted out. So now please focus. Yeah, if there's any technical issue, I believe that's from your side. Okay, okay. So chala then. So that's your Gujarat doctrine, and this Gujarat doctrine was continued by Vajpayee. So as a reason, he started developing good relation with Pakistan, and similar the same thing was continued by Dr. Manmohan Singh, and Dr. Manmohan Singh. Yeah, during Dr. Manmohan Singh's regime in 2008, the concept of neighborhood first policy was pitched. So it was not completely followed, but however, the idea of neighborhood first policy was taken by Dr. Manmohan Singh in 2008. But however, the present regime and the present Modi regime got continued with this neighborhood first policy, and probably today, after today's election also, you need not worry. Even probably, I don't think so, there might be a regime change or there may not be regime change, but nothing will happen to India's foreign policy as such. There won't be any major changes with India's foreign policy, mainly with respect to your neighborhood policies. And if you see, analyze India's foreign policy, history of India's foreign policy, it was Gujral who initiated, or so who emphasized a lot on neighborhood, that is building good relation with neighborhood. So that's your Gujarat doctrine. Fine. Okay. So apart from this, any other doubts? Why currently soft power has been a failure with Pakistan? Okay, see, Utkarsh, when we deal with Pakistan in detail, now then we'll learn here. So currently, see here, what are we learning now? We are seeing the overall evolution of India's foreign policy from Nehru period till the current regime. So don't know what happens in the future. So don't know what happens after today's election, also today's final verdict. So let us see. But however, I don't think so. There will be any major changes in the foreign policy as such. Got it. No, any doubt here? Okay, fine. So now let us start with this one. So yesterday we had missed out of the last point on the contemporary foreign policy. So uh, Ishika, voice is not proper. Video is buffering. Yes, I think this is on your side. There's some technical issue on your side here. Okay. Okay, so now right on the last contemporary foreign policies. In the contemporary times, we have started emphasizing on Dhanya voice. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you, Dhanya. Yeah, others, the voice, everything is clear. Yeah. There's no buffering as such. If there's any buffering, that's on your, then that's something wrong with your side. Got it? Okay. So right on here. See, please see here. India, if you consider presently in the world, India has one of the largest diaspora. So there's a very neck-to-neck competition between India and China. So we are, as of now, currently, India has the largest diaspora in the world. Diaspora means the people of one country's origin, they go to another country for works, education, etc. So that is called as a diaspora. As of now, currently, India has the largest diaspora. So sometimes it comes, China will be the first, and sometimes India will be the first. But as on date, India is the largest diaspora. And these Indian diasporas have a significant power across the world. So be it in North America, or say be it in be it in Europe, or say be it in West Asia, these diasporas have a significant power. So if you consider Kamala Harris, so she's an Indian diaspora, the Vice President of US, Indian diaspora, UK, Rishi Sunak, the Prime Minister of UK, Indian diaspora. So if you consider lot of officials in US administration are a part of Indian diaspora. So this Indian diaspora plays a very important role in building up India's foreign policy. So starting from Manmohan Singh's period, so during Vajpayee's period, there was no major engagement with Indian diaspora. But however, starting from Manmohan Singh's period, that is post 2004 onwards, there was an active engagement with Indian diaspora, because these Indian diasporas, they hold important position in the foreign governments. They hold important position in the countries, in the companies in different countries, say Google or say Microsoft, etc. They are our Indian diasporas, and they play a very important role in that company. So post Manmohan Singh, that is post 2004, during Manmohan Singh's regime and even the current Modi regime, so they are focusing a lot on engaging with Indian diaspora. The reason is that Indian diaspora are sitting in a powerful position, or a position of power, be it in a government or say be it in private sector. Indian diasporas are sitting in a powerful position. So in order to build a good relation with that country, it is easy to engage with our people. So in order to engage with US government, it is easy to engage with an Indian who is in US government. In order to engage with the US companies, it is easy to engage with an Indian who is in US company. You're getting it. So this importance of Indian diaspora was realized now from post Manmohan Singh's period, and this is also followed by your Modi, the current regime also. Got it. So right down here, Indian diaspora, active diaspora engagement. Active diaspora engagement. So right on here, post 2004. So just one or two lines. Post 2004, post 2004, India's foreign policy, Indian foreign policy started engaging. Indian foreign policy started engaging with, post 2004. India's foreign policy started engaging with started engaging with Indian diaspora, Indian diaspora, in order to in order to in order to push India's interest, in order to push India's interest. Example, example, Indian diaspora, Indian diaspora played important role, also played important role in India-US nuclear deal. In India-USA nuclear deal. India-USA nuclear deal. Okay, so when we take up India and USA, we'll see about this India-USA nuclear deal in detail, what exactly it is. But however, as of now, just consider this. After Manmohan Singh, that is post 2004, during Manmohan Singh's regime or even the current Modi's regime, so we are actively engaging with the Indian diaspora because the Indian diasporas are sitting in a powerful position. So even this India-US nuclear deal, so even in this India-US nuclear deal, Indian diaspora played a very important role. They tried to convince the US government, that is India-US nuclear deal was kind of driven by the Indian diaspora. So that was started after Manmohan Singh's period. That is from Manmohan Singh's period, and even the current Modi government is also following the same thing. Now let us consider the soft power diplomacy. So right on here, soft power diplomacy, soft power diplomacy. So right on here, soft power diplomacy. So what exactly is soft power? I'll use yellow color, or say blue. Blue one would be good. Okay, fine. Is it visible? A blue color. right? Okay. Okay, yellow. Okay, fine. Okay, so what is soft power diplomacy, or say what is soft power? That is using cultural values in order to influence other countries. So that is called as a soft power diplomacy. So right on here, soft power diplomacy, soft power diplomacy. So this software diplomacy was mainly focused from Vajpayee's regime, but however, it took great importance during Manmohan Singh's period. So during Manmohan Singh's period, so we you would have probably you would be very young kids. You would have something called as the Aman Ki Asha, Aman Ki Asha. Okay, Aman Ki Asha was a soft power diplomacy where we try to engage with Pakistan through cultural exchanges, through exchanges of movies, dance, music, etc. So it was initiated. The emphasis on soft power diplomacy was started from Manmohan Singh's period, but however, it was considered, or say it was pushed a lot by the current Modi regime. So the current Modi regime pushed for say yoga, or say pushed for all these Bollywood movies, music, etc. So because of that, we are having a great soft power diplomacy currently. So earlier prime ministers did not emphasize a lot on soft power diplomacy, but however, it was initiated from Manmohan Singh's period. Aman Ki Asha, all this thing. These are some of the example. You would have heard about Coke Studio, right? Coke Studio Hindi. So we started sending our artists to Coke Studio. Coke Studio is Pakistan's. We started sending our artists to Coke Studio. So this is like cultural exchanges were taking place. But however, the present Modi regime, so the present Modi regime emphasized a lot on cultural diplomacy by having by exchanging by exchanging the music, dance, etc. Buddhism also was emphasized. That is when we are engaging with the East Asian countries, we use Buddhism. When we are engaging with Sri Lanka, we use Tamil. So when we are engaging with the West Asia, we use Bollywood movies. So when we are engaging with the world, we promote our cultural values like yoga. So this has been emphasized a lot by the current regime. So this is the evolution of foreign policy in terms of your soft power diplomacy. So right on here, soft power diplomacy. It was first one right on soft power diplomacy. It was initially, it was initially, initially started by. It was initially started started from post 2004. However, 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 from from post 2014, from post 2014, the government, that is India emphasized. However, from post 2014, India emphasized more on soft power diplomacy. However, uh, from post 2014, India emphasized more on soft power diplomacy, more on soft power diplomacy, soft power diplomacy, to bridge, also to develop good relations, to to develop good relations. Example, yoga, example, yoga, Buddhism, etc. Yoga, Buddhism, etc. This is the overall evolution of India's foreign policy. Take 2 3 minutes time. Please flip the pages and go through the overall foreign policy. That is evolution of overall foreign policy. Take 1 or 2 minutes time, or say take 1 minute time. Flip the pages and see if you have any doubt in the overall foreign policy. See, starting from Nehru's regime till the current regime. So if you have any doubt, please let me know. Kindly go through it. See, once you have a broad understanding, once you have a broad understanding about the foreign policy, evolution of India's foreign policy, everything becomes very easy. Bhimre, pragmatism. See, pragmatism is nothing but realism. So, what Nehru did was, so during Nehru's period, if you consider, Nehru was more of an idealistic person. So, idealistic person. So, if you see all the Nehru's foreign policy, it emphasized. One second. Yeah, I'm so sorry. So if you see all the Nehru's foreign policy, it was more about idealism. Idealism in the sense peaceful coexistence, respecting each other's territory and sovereignty. So these were like very idealistic values for a foreign policy. But in reality, foreign policy is always focuses on self-interest. India's foreign policy will focus on self-interest. China's foreign policy will focus on their self-interest. Every country's foreign policy will focus on their self-interest. If you see the statement of Kautilya in his book Arthashastra regarding the definition of foreign policy, any step that you take to push your interest across the world, also with other countries, that has to be your foreign policy. But Nehru's foreign policy was more of an idealistic. That is, we should have mutual benefit. We should have that is, we should respect each other's territory. This was more of an idealistic foreign policy. But what happened in 1962? In 1962, China came and attacked us. So, but we were following the most idealistic policy. This China came and attacked us. So, as a reason, we had to move towards from idealism towards pragmatism. We should be pragmatic in the sense we should know that any country can attack us. So, as a reason, we also have to develop the military forces. We should also start spending on weapons. So that was the pragmatic, that was your pragmatism. Okay, Prem, world relations and Asian relations. See here, when Nehru became the prime minister in the initial period, so there was a Cold War that was going on. Cold War between your US and USSR. They wanted to influence all the countries, or say they wanted to increase their influence across the world in order to push their ideology, either capitalism or communism. So that was your Cold War. But however, Nehru, if you consider at Asia level, so why Nehru even today he is the most celebrated leader, or say one of the best global leader that we had in humanity, is that because Nehru, despite coming from the poorest country, so his value systems were so idealistic that he was always talking right thing. That is, he was against he was against colonialism, and he was supporting decolonialism, and he was supporting Africa. But however, he took a very neutral stance that we will neither align with US nor with Russia, but we will focus on our interest. So this was very much appreciated because the country like India during that time, which had high level of poverty, low agricultural production, low healthcare facility. In this condition, This man is talking about decolonialism, decolonization of other countries, that is development of all the newly independent countries. So what was Nehru's policy with respect to Asia? So with respect to Asia, he was emphasizing on decolonialism in Asia, and again development of Asia. At the same time, he was calling Africa as a sister continent of Asia, because Africa was also colonized by this European powers. So he was also supporting for decolonization movement in Africa. Fine. So is there a discourse in diplomacy? What, Shreya? Bhimare, see, today whichever party wins, there won't be any major changes, even if there is any regime change also, or say if the same regime continues, it doesn't have a major impact on anything in the foreign policy of India. If you consider the current regime, what are the current regime is doing, more or less it's the same policy that is taken from Manmohan Singh's regime. So if you consider Manmohan Singh's regime, more or less the same policy is followed from the Vajpayee's regime. So only new things are added. So Manmohan Singh started engaging with Africa and started engaging with West Asia. The current regime, they just rebranded it into Look West policy, and again focusing on Look West policy and engaging with Africa. There won't be any change as such. Akshita, the 1965 war, we'll go in detail when we take up with India-Pakistan relation. We'll see to it. Now, just the broad evolution of India's foreign policy. So that is sufficient. Okay, I hope this is clear. Now let us see the broad challenges for India's foreign policy in the current times. In the current times, what are the broad foreign policy challenges? So write down here broad challenges to the present foreign policy. Broad challenges to the present foreign policy. Okay, see now let us see what are the broad challenges in the present times. Please see here. Okay, so just understand the basic things. So India is a close ally of. I hope everyone would have gone through Cold War, right? India is a close friend of Russia, but at the same time, India is also maintaining good relation with USA. If you compare between Russia and USA, India is slightly tilted towards Russia compared to USA. This is one fact you have to keep in mind. Another fact is that this USA and Russia, they are rival countries. USA and Russia are rival. Fine. But India is a friend to US, Russia. India is a friend to USA. But if you consider India is a bit closer friend to Russia. Fine. Now, what happened post 2000? This China started emerging. So there, China is not a military power as such. So Russia is a military power. China started emerging economically. So it started becoming economical power. So this rise of China was challenging USA, because USA is an economic power. It's a military power. USA is economic power and military power. Russia is a military power. But China's rise, economical rise, is challenging USA. So if it is challenging USA in Asia, so there are two big countries where the Asia in Asia region, there are two big countries. One is India and the other one was China. Now this China post 2000, it started developing, and this China is now challenging USA, and China is also challenging India. So India and China doesn't have a good relationship as such. So now the challenge is that, but we want China. So India requires China's help in a sense in terms of trade, and all this the fancy boycott China, all these things are only in WhatsApp and keyboard, all these keyboard warriors. In reality, India now, if you consider today. the largest trading partner of India is China. Despite this boycott, China banning of so and so things, nothing works because China is the largest trading partner of India, even not even US. So these are the three big entities we have to manage. So there are issues for us. US is important, China is important, Russia are problems among themselves. So it's something like this. There is person A, person B. So you are friend with person A and person B, but however, these two people are fighting. So you'll have to carefully engage with person A and person B because these two guys are fighting. So if you are close with person B, person A will get affected. If you are close with person A, this person will get offended. So as a reason, this is the current challenge that we are facing now. The challenge is that we want USA, we want Russia. But if I'm going closer to Russia, if I'm going closer to China, sorry, if I'm going closer to USA, Russia will get offended. If I'm going closer to Russia, USA will get offended. So what happened? I'll just give you one example. You will get to know. So in 2016, and again here, know this: Russia is always India's friend, has always been India's friend after this 1971. After Indira Gandhi period, Russia has always been India's friend since 1971. So in 2016, what happened? The present Modi regime signed one military agreement with USA. So this Russia got offended. Russia had never supplied defense weapons to Pakistan because Pakistan is not a friendly country to India. So as a reason, Russia had never supplied defense equipments to Pakistan because Pakistan we had multiple wars with Pakistan, so they had never supported Russia never supported Pakistan. When in 2016, when India signed on defense agreement with USA, Russia started supplying weapons to Pakistan. For the first time it happened. You're seeing the challenge that we have. If we are engaging with USA, Russia will get offended. USA was giving us a better deal, but when we went towards USA, Russia is getting offended. Then what happened in 2019? Yeah, in 2019, please see here. In 2019, Russia had a very good defense anti-missile defense technology. So anti-missile defense technology is there's something called as S-400. This was the best anti-missile technology. Fine. When we started importing this S-400 from Russia, USA told that we will impose sanction on you. If you buy weapons from Russia, we will impose sanction on you. Are you getting the challenge? So this is what that's happening. And again here now another example I'll give. So when India started moving towards USA, China gets offended. So China gets offended because USA is challenging China. When India is moving closer to China, USA, China is getting offended. So this is a broad challenge that we are having in our foreign policy. We require US, we require China, we require Russia. Why we require, we'll see to it later on. What are the factors? When we take up individual country, we will see why this country is important for India. As of now, just understand this: Russia, China, and USA are very important for India's growth. So we require. See again here, consider this, and again don't fall for this. WhatsApp and Twitter and all this nonsense thing that's completely untrue. It has nothing to do with your reality. For India, China is very important because in China is the largest trading partner. All this boycott China, all this doesn't work. Okay, and again for China, India is just one to 2%. It's less than 2%. Sometimes it is 1%. The amount of Chinese export to India is just 1%. If China stops exporting to India, they will have an impact only on 1% of their exports. But for India, China is the largest trading partner. Getting it? So USA, China, Russia, these three entities are very important for us. So this issue, but we have to carefully manage between them. So that is a challenge that we are having now. This is the main challenge. Got it? Any doubt here? Till here, any doubt? Okay, got it. Understood. Yes, yes. Beamray, we purchased S400, but as a reason, when we take up US now, there's this like actually kind of funny, or say it's very, very challenging. So we purchased S400 from Russia, but in return, we also told that we will purchase some defense equipments from of $1 billion of defense equipment from US also. So we did purchase this S400, but we also told China, USA that we'll also purchase some defense products from you guys. Okay, so right on this broad challenges. Understood the dynamics between these three countries. So US, China, Russia. Okay, so right on this broad challenges. Managing relation with China, or say balancing relation with China and USA. That is first challenge. Balancing relation between China and USA. Balancing relation between China and USA. Balancing relation between China and USA. Okay. Next one, right on. Balancing relation between US and Russia. Balancing relation between US and Russia. Balancing relation between USA and Russia. Fine. Okay. So next broad challenge is terrorism. So currently, you would have seen in the news that in Afghanistan, Taliban has taken over Afghanistan. So terrorism is a crucial issue that India is facing. So right on here, next challenges: regional security concerns, regional security concerns, regional security concerns due to militant activity, due to militant activity due to militant activities due to militant activities in the region, due to militant activities in the region. Example: Taliban, Lashkar-e-Taiba. So LAT, Lashkar-e-Taiba. LAT, Taliban, LAT, Lashkar-e-Taiba. And the next challenge that we have is climate change. Climate change. Climate change. Climate change. Yeah, it's Taliban, Lashkar-e-Taiba, LAT. Okay, so these are the broad, yeah, these are the broad policies. These are the broad challenges that we have in the current times. Understood? So starting from Nehru till the present regime, so this was our foreign policy evolution. So now let us see what Jaishankar has classified India's foreign policy evolution as. Divya, Lashkar-e-Taiba. So what Jaishankar has classified India's foreign policy as. So Jaishankar in one interview, no, so it was not interview as such, it was a speech in which he segregated India's foreign policies into six phases. So starting from Nehru period till Narendra Modi, so he has divided India's foreign policy evolution into six phases. So write down this: Six Phases of India's Foreign Policy by Jaishankar. Six Phases of India's Foreign Policy by Jaishankar. Just write one line each. So you'll have a better understanding of the evolution of India's foreign policy. Six Phases of India's Foreign Policy by Jaishankar. Okay. The first one is the era, that is 1946 to 62. Era of optimistic non-alignment. Era of optimistic non-alignment. Era of optimistic non-alignment. Era of optimistic non-alignment. So here I down. First one write down. India aimed to protect. India aimed to protect its sovereignty. Sovereignty and rebuild its economy. Next one is maintained neutrality. Maintained neutrality during Cold War. Maintained neutrality during Cold War. Next one had idealistic idealistic foreign policies. Had idealistic foreign policy. Had idealistic foreign policy. So this was the first phase, that is era of optimistic non-alignment. And the next phase was decade of realism and recovery. So decade of realism. So what happened after 1962 war? We got to know the reality. That is, not all the country wants to maintain peace. Not all the country wants to respect each other's territory. So that doesn't work. All these idealistic things, idealistic values doesn't work in reality. So after 1962 war, where India got defeated, our foreign policy became more realistic. But whereas during Nehru's period, it was more idealistic. That is, everyone should respect each other. We should maintain neutrality, etc. So that didn't work out. So in the real world, it didn't work out. So post 1962 to 1971, so write down here, decade of realism and recovery. Decade of realism and recovery. Decade of realism and recovery. So decade of realism and recovery, 1962 to 1971. So what happened during this decade of recovery, realism and recovery? So first one, write on prioritized security. So again here, after 1962 war, where India lost, that time we felt that forget about all this neutrality concept, non-alignment concept. Now let us focus on our security. So write on here, prioritized 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 national security. prioritized national security, prioritized national security over non-alignment, over non-alignment, prioritize national security over non-alignment. Next one is tilted, tilted towards USSR, tilted towards USSR. So Indira Gandhi, when she signed the Treaty of Friendship with USSR, we started tilting towards USSR because USSR provided us with defense equipment. They helped us with nuclear technologies. So we tilted towards USSR. And another reason why we tilted towards USSR was that USA was supporting Pakistan. So in 1965, though USA did not openly support Pakistan, but however in 1971 war, which we had with Pakistan, that time USA was supporting Pakistan openly. So we had to protect ourselves. Then we thought, forget about all this non-alignment concept. Let us focus on my security. We aligned with USSR, tilted towards USSR. Fine. Okay. So next one, right down. Phase of regional assertion. Phase of regional assertion. Phase of regional assertion. So what is this regional assertion? Okay, just recall one thing that yesterday what I told, mainly during Rajiv, after this 1971 war, we won this 1971 war. So we had become a dominant power during 1971. Again, Rajiv Gandhi, so by 1980s, we were the established power in Indian Ocean region. So we thought we are more powerful. So then what did Rajiv Gandhi do? We sent our Indian army, that is the Indian military, into Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka had civil war. So in 1987, your Sri Lanka in 1987, Sri Lanka had their internal domestic civil war was going on. So what we did, matlab, we were asserting ourselves in the region, in South Asia region. We sent Indian army into this one, 1987. So post that is phases of regional assertion. So right down here, showed. So right down first point, right down first point, right down, showed strong military power, strong military power in 1971 Bangladesh Liberation War. Bangladesh Liberation, Bangladesh Liberation War. So what happened? So you'd hear the statements from the politicians and important people that it was Indira Gandhi who divided Pakistan into two, and there's no other prime minister who could do it. So this is that 1971 Bangladesh liberation war. So what happened when I take up all this concepts, right? That is India relation with Pakistan, India's relation with Bangladesh. Then we'll take up this Bangladesh Liberation War. But however, I'll just give you a gist. In 1971, Bangladesh was having civil war issue. So because of that, there was a lot of migrants or a lot of refugees coming into India. So this was creating a major crisis for India. So as a reason, India attacked Pakistan and Bangladesh got freedom. Bangladesh got independence. So we could provide independence to one country. That is, India could divide Pakistan into two halves. So again, it showed our regional assertion. So it showed our regional assertion. So next one, right now. Next one, right on sending military forces to Sri Lanka in 1987 to control civil war Fine, sending military forces to Sri Lanka in 1987 to control civil war. So during this period, we started asserting ourselves in the regional level. But however, we did not claim ourselves as a Vishwaguru as such. No Vishwaguru. We were only focusing on our own region. That is at South Asia level, we wanted to assert ourselves. So then what happened? So next phase is quest for strategic autonomy. Quest for strategic autonomy. So write down here quest for strategic autonomy. So write down here first one. So by 1991, what happened? USSR got disintegrated. So we wanted to assert ourselves. That is, we wanted to maintain because USA was the only power now. After 1991, USA was the only power. So we wanted to maintain our autonomy. Earlier, if USA could support Pakistan, we could tilt towards USSR, Russia. Now there is no Russia. Now there is no USSR. After 1991, there is no USSR to come and help us. So as a reason, we wanted to maintain our own strategic autonomy. So we wanted to create a deterrence. So for that, what happened? So right on here, focused on focused on securing securing nuclear weapon nuclear weapon nuclear weapon capabilities nuclear weapon capability. Next one, write on increased ties with East Asia. Increased ties with East Asia. So we wanted to maintain autonomy. That is, not earlier there were two entities, US or Russia, that is USSR. You either go towards US or you either go towards USSR. Now USSR is gone, only Russia, only USA. So we need not also during this period 91 to 98 we did not want to over depend on USA. So as a reason, what happened? We focused on nuclear weapons, securing nuclear weapon capabilities, and second one is rather than depending on US, we'll depend on other groupings or other countries, that is East Asia. So this happened during your quest of strategic autonomy. And the next phase you write down balancing power. Balancing power. Balancing power. Right on here. With USA support, with US support, with US support, India started balancing power balancing power India started balancing power against China. Against China. Next one, right on. See, Vajpayee's period, and again here you should note that Jaishankar, nah, matlab, there might be some inherent bias because he's no more when he gave the speech, he was no more a bureaucrat. He may not be neutral as such. But if you see if you see the next phase, you'll get to know that why this phase is what he has given is doesn't look 100% neutral, but more or less it's correct, but we cannot call it as a neutral. That is his what are he's telling us that everything happened after 2014. So he was a external affairs minister when he gave this. So yeah, that is a thing. Okay, so right, next point again here, you should have this broad idea, but you cannot discount that every the previous prime ministers, Vajpayee, Manmohan Singh, PV Narasimha Rao, you cannot discount all of them. So they also played a very important role in the in making India's foreign policy. Even the current regime also played a very important role. Even the upcoming regime, or say the if the, even whatever the government that comes after this, so that will also play an important role in India's foreign policy. Fine. Okay, so here balancing right on here, maintained. Go, here next one right on, maintained good relation, good relation with emerging economies, emerging economies. Example: BRICS nations, BRICS nations, BRICS nations. Fine. Okay. So next one is last one is energetic diplomacy. See, this is what I want to tell. Energetic diplomacy. So if you read his entire article dividing India's foreign policy into six phases, if you go through that entire article, you'll have a feeling that everything in India's foreign policy happened during this period. That is energetic diplomacy. Okay. Even the previous prime ministers also contributed a lot, be it Vajpayee, Manmohan Singh, Narasimha Rao, everyone. Fine. Okay, so right on here, energetic diplomacy. First one right on. Became more assertive, became more assertive, became more assertive on world stage, became more assertive on world stage, became more assertive on the world stage. Next one is active role, active role in global global negotiations, global negotiations like climate change, like climate change. So again, so in this phase, Jaishankar emphasized that India's foreign policy has become global. So earlier, the broadly, if you have to consider Rajiv Gandhi and Indira Gandhi period, they started asserting themselves at Asia level, at Asian South Asia region. When you come to Vajpayee and Manmohan Singh, again here I'm not telling this, Jaishankar is telling. So when you come to Vajpayee and Manmohan Singh's regime, they started engaging only with the developing countries and try to control the China's rise with the help of USA. But again, after 2014, we became more assertive in the world stage, and we started actively, that is proactively engaging with the world communities for all the global negotiations like climate change, financial terrorism, etc. So, what is it? Money laundering, etc. So, got it. So this was your Jaishankar's policy. Jaishankar divided India's foreign policy into six phases. Fine. Okay, this is the evolution of India's foreign policy. Now let us take up another topic. So that is India and its neighbor. So a fresh new page, complete new page. So what we'll do, I'll explain here. So what we'll be doing here is that India and its neighbor. So we will see India's relation with Pakistan, Afghanistan, Nepal, Bhutan, Myanmar, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Maldives. So this is known as your India and its neighborhood policy. Fine. So this is what we'll be studying. So what China, yeah. So with these countries, we'll be studying what is the relationship, and we'll go in detail. What is the relation between India and China, India, Pakistan, India, Afghanistan, Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh, Myanmar, Maldives, Sri Lanka. So these countries will be studied. So that is your India and its neighborhood policy. So have a fresh page, and we'll start from there. Akshita, if China is becoming powerful at Asia level, it's okay. China was a powerful entity in Asia from 1990s. In 1990s, China was powerful at Asia level, but post 2000, this China is challenging USA. USA is the global leader. China is challenging USA. So that's the reason why USA has issue with China's rise. Okay, so please write down here. India and its neighborhood policy. India and its neighborhood policy. So as of now, please see here. Focus here. So currently, what is the policy that is guiding India's relation with the neighboring countries? So that is your neighborhood first policy. So as of now, till the present regime. So don't know what happens tomorrow. I think is the result out, final result out. So don't know. So don't know what happens tomorrow. But as of now, till the present Modi regime, the policy that drives India's relation with neighboring countries is neighborhood first policy. So now let us understand what is this neighborhood first policy. Fine. So write down here. Audible, right? Yeah. Okay. So write down just in one corner. So write down this. Write down the India's neighboring country. First China. So first we'll start with see again. First we'll start with China. So China, Pakistan, China, Pakistan, Afghanistan, China, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Bangladesh, Nepal, Bhutan, Myanmar, Sri Lanka, and Maldives. So these are the countries which India considers it as the neighbor. So apart from this, the countries that are far away from this, we call it as an extended neighbor. So extended neighbor is, say here we have Iran. So this side we have Iran. So Iran we call it as extended neighbor. So this is our first circle. So anything beyond this, we call it as extended neighbor. Say for example, after Myanmar, here we have Thailand. So Thailand is not our neighbor. We call it as extended neighbor. So, but first, what we'll do is that neighborhood first policy. These are our neighbors. So the countries which are beyond this, we call it as extended neighbor. Fine, got it. Okay, so this is our extended neighbor. Okay, so right on here, and again note this one that currently whatever we are doing, whatever the policy that what are the relation that we are bridging with these neighboring countries is through neighborhood first policy. So right on here, neighborhood first policy. Neighborhood first policy. Yeah, right on. Right on this, I'll explain this. So quickly right on this. The policy is based on the belief that, or else I'll explain, then you can write it down. See here, neighborhood first policy. Now, please, everyone, just take 2 minutes time. Understand this. It will be a very good exercise for you to think in with respect to Pakistan, China, and other neighboring countries. So, how India can build a good relation with these countries, or so why we should build a good relation with these countries. So, only then you'll understand. See here, the policy or the philosophy of neighborhood first policy is that if India has to grow, we should have a good relation with our neighbors. So, because if there is any trouble in our neighbor, that trouble will spill over into India. If our neighbor is not cooperative, if our neighbor is not friendly, our neighbor can attack us. So if our neighbor attacks us, we cannot directly prevent them, or say we cannot always be cautious. If any other country from different place attacks us, we will have time to protect ourselves. But however, if a neighbor attacks us, it will be a challenging task for us to protect us. That is one aspect. And second aspect is, we should have a safe and peaceful neighbor so that India can develop. Fine. See here, if there are militants in Pakistan, if Pakistan has militants, if Afghanistan has Taliban, so Taliban, we cannot consider it as a militant as of now because that's a government, but earlier India was considering Taliban as a militant. So there are so many militant groups in Pakistan. So if we allow militant groups in Pakistan and Afghanistan, so these militant groups tomorrow they will come and attack India. So that is here. The example is 2611. So 2611 happened because militants were there in Pakistan and Afghanistan. So, but and the second thing, if we do not have a friendly relation with our neighbors, they can come and attack us. Say what happened with China. So, now when we take up India China, we'll see it in detail. There was something called the Galwan crisis. So during lockdown, you would have seen Galwan clash was going on. So that boycott Chinese goods, etc. That happened because of Galwan clash. China came and attacked us. India also attacked. So this happened because we did not have a good trust factor. So China was not our close friend. So, and the next thing is, we require our neighborhood because we require to engage with our neighborhood because we can sell our goods and services. Fine. So we can easily sell our goods and services to our neighboring country rather than selling our goods to Europe, rather than selling our goods to Southeast Asia or say USA. We can sell our goods to this neighboring country itself. It's easy. Transportation cost should be less. It's easy. So that is these are the three reasons why the three factors that drives the neighborhood first policy. Understood? So now write on this. Write on this factor. That is, the policy is based on the belief that India's security and prosperity, that is, India's security, prosperity in the sense economic development, is linked with the security and prosperity of neighboring country. Say if Bangladesh, example, we can consider. Now it's not the appropriate example as such. In fact, Bangladesh per capita income is more than India. But however, just have this vague idea. If Bangladesh is poor, so Bangladesh has no prosperity, then what will happen? People from Bangladesh will enter India as a refugee. That will create refugee crisis. If Myanmar, there are some Rohingya crisis. There are some people who that is southern part of Myanmar have Rohingyas. So if these people are not developed, these people will enter India and cause refugee crisis in India. So India's security and prosperity is linked with our neighboring countries' security and prosperity. That is the philosophy on which this neighborhood first policy is made. Got it? So right on here, and this one. Thus, the policy aims to build a mutual beneficial relation with India and its neighbor. Fine. Okay. So right on here, next line right on. The concept of neighborhood first policy came into being in 2008. The concept of neighborhood first policy came into being in 2008. The concept of neighborhood first policy came into being in 2008. In 2008. Okay, right on. Four main objectives. Four main objectives. Four main objectives. First one is peace and stable neighborhood. Peace and stable neighborhood. So why India is more interested in having peace and stability in other country? Because if there's a civil war in Sri Lanka, people from Sri Lanka will come into India as a refugee. If there is militant attack in Pakistan, Afghanistan, people from here will come into India, and this will cause refugee crisis. So that is the first objective. That is peace and stability, stable neighborhood to ensure to ensure to ensure India's own security, to ensure India's own security, ensure India's own security and prosperity, ensure India's own security and prosperity. Fine, peace and stable neighborhood to ensure India's own security and prosperity. Next one is enhanced connectivity. So enhanced connectivity, write down enhanced connectivity to improve trade, to improve trade and cultural exchanges, cultural exchanges, cultural exchanges, cultural exchanges in the region, cultural exchanges in the region, to improve trade and cultural exchanges in the region. See, again, enhanced connectivity when the connectivity is very good. Say, for example, if we have regular flights, or say there is proper road connection between two countries. So, what will happen? This will lead to increased connectivity, or say, that is increased trade and cultural exchanges. Say, for example, with respect to Nepal, if you are from say UP Bihar region, you would know that the this region in Nepal, that is the southern Nepal people, they are more or less similar to that of your UP Bihar people. So around say 20 to 25 percentage of Nepalis speak Maithili language. So again here there that is very close to your UP Bihar because the connectivity is very good. There is an open border. So since the open border is there, connectivity is very good. So this will lead to cultural exchanges. So there's a statement, right? Roti beti ka rishta. So roti beti ka rishta takes place with Nepal because the connectivity is very good. So that is one thing. And the next aspect of next objective is economic cooperation. Economic cooperation. Economic cooperation to boost trade and investment, to boost trade and investment, to boost trade and investment, which benefits, which helps all the nations in the region, which helps all the nations, which helps all the nations in the region, which helps all the nations in the region, which helps all the nations in the region. Fine. And the last one is shared security concern. Shared security concern. Shared security concern. Shared security concern to prevent to prevent terrorism, to prevent terrorism, to prevent terrorism, prevent terrorism, illegal illegal drugs and arms, illegal drugs and arms supply in the region, illegal drugs and arms supply in the region. So these are the four main objectives of your neighborhood first policy. So as of now, so current even the current regime is following the same neighborhood first policy in order to engage with our neighboring countries. Understood? So this is your neighborhood first policy. So now let us take up the first country. So the first country is, sorry, right on here, mechanisms, mechanisms to implement, mechanisms to implement neighborhood first policy, mechanisms to implement neighborhood first policy, mechanisms to implement neighborhood first policy, mechanisms to implement neighborhood first policy. So first one, write down high level visits, high level high level visits. Okay, high level visits means top ministers meeting with each other. So that is called as your high level visits. So first one is high level visits. So next one is increased increased trade and investment. Increased trade and investment. Third one is provide developmental assistance. Developmental assistance. Provide developmental assistance. Next one is joint cooperation. Joint cooperation in security, in security and disaster management. Okay, so these are the mechanisms through which this and the last point. cultural exchanges through people to people contact. People to people contact. Okay, so these are the mechanisms through which we are implementing the neighborhood first policy. So high level visits, in the sense, your prime minister, say any of the Indian ministers, will go and any of the ministers from the opposite side, say be it your Pakistan, Afghanistan, etc. So that's your high level visits. So trade and investment has to be increased. So by increasing trade and investment, so we can build a good relationship. So what Manmohan Singh, or say even Vajpayee also told, was that with mainly Manmohan Singh. So Manmohan Singh had a advisor, Shiv Shankar Menon. If you want to read anything regarding the foreign policy, India's foreign policy, read articles by Shiv Shankar Menon and his book. So he has written a very good book called as My Choices. So my choice, that is My Choices. So read that book, very small book, so you can finish it in one day. So he was a NSA of this Manmohan Singh. So during Manmohan Singh's regime, it was clearly told that with respect to Pakistan, it is not possible to resolve the issues with Pakistan, say like POK, Pak occupied Kashmir, and these areas are very challenging to resolve. So the best way is to increase the trade and investment with Pakistan. When we have a good engagements, the political challenges can be sidelined. So that was the policy that we follow in the mechanism that we follow in the neighborhood first policy. And the next one is provide developmental assistance. So if any country is facing with some crisis, we provide with developmental assistance. Say for example, Sri Lanka is facing with some crisis, we provide developmental assistance. And the next one is joint cooperation and in terms of security and disaster management. So when any two countries they come together for a security purpose, or say for different disaster management, it bridges the relationship between these two countries. And the last one is your cultural exchanges through people to people contact, like say movies, university student exchanges. So these are the mechanisms through which we implement this neighborhood first policy. Fine. So we will take up the next yeah. Okay, so the next heading is India China relationship. India China relationship. Fine. India China relationship. Okay, fine. So we'll take a break of 10 minutes. So now it is 6:35. Please come back by 6:45. Uh, 6:45. Please don't take much time. 6:45. We'll start at 6:45. Right? Okay. So thank you. Yeah. So okay, so let us start with India-China relationship. Okay, now please everyone focus. I think everyone have come to the class now. See here, if you understand how we take up each country, like how we'll be taking up each country, so it will be easy for you to predict what would be the next topic that we'll be taking up. Fine. So what we'll do is that if we are taking, please see here, if we are taking China, so first what we'll see is that basic, very basic understanding. We'll not go in detail. I'll just give you a broad overview. You need not even write the notes. I'll give a broad overview between India and China relationship. Next, we'll see the historical relation. You have to start writing when we pick up the historical relation. During ancient time, what was the relation between India and China? During colonial period, what was the relation between India and China? Post independence, what is the relation? Contemporary times, what is the relation? Four aspects will be seeing. The first aspect is ancient times, what is the relation? Colonial period, how was our relation? During independence, that is post independence, how was the relation? Contemporary relation. Contemporary means, see, when I tell contemporary, it is not the current. Contemporary is different, current is different. Contemporary will involve all your current thing also. Contemporary, we will only consider post 2000. Post 2000, your Vajpayee period, Manmohan Singh period, Modi period. So these are the three eras that will be three periods that will be focusing on. After seeing the evolution of relationship from ancient times till the present times, then we will see what is the convergence of interest. So convergence of interest means where India and China have similar interest, in what areas both of them have similar interest. So that we will see, and the next one will see divergence of interest, in which areas both India and China doesn't go together. So those areas we call it as divergence of interest. And finally, we will see how to overcome this divergence of interest. Got it? I'll again repeat it so that you'll have a broad understanding about how we'll be taking up in the class. When we are taking India, China, India, Pakistan, India, Afghanistan, anything, so what we'll do is that initially I will explain what is the contemporary challenges that we have. Broadly, this is the contemporary challenge that we have. Say, for example, if I tell you, currently China is rising. China is rising. So China is trying to become a military power. China is trying to influence itself or assert itself in the Indian Ocean region. So that is affecting India's superiority. Yeah, that is affecting India's hegemony in the region. Earlier, India was the dominant player. So you would have seen in the previous page, you would have written, right? Assertion. So we, from Indira Gandhi period, Rajiv Gandhi period, we were asserting ourselves. We were trying to be a leader in the South Asia region, or say in the Asian region. Currently what is happening is that your China is trying to increase its influence in the Indian Ocean region. That is compromising India's position, that is compromising India's leadership. So that is the current condition. Fine. So now we will see, this is the current situation. Now we will see how the relation evolved from ancient time till the present time. This is the present situation. Present situation, India and China are not a very close ally. What is the present situation? We had a fight in Galwan, that is Jammu Kashmir, near Ladakh region. We had a fight near Arunachal. Recently, Arunachal region, we had a fight in a sense, verbal exchanges between India and China. So near Dras region, we had a issue that China has. There are the satellite images which shows that China has constructed few infrastructures in Indian territory. So this is the current position. Now we will rewind and go back to the ancient time. Since ancient time, how did India's relation with China evolve? We'll see ancient time, colonial period, independence, that is post independence, contemporary time. Contemporary time is post 2000. Post 2000, how did our relationship evolve? And then we will come to the present time. Understood? So this is how we'll be doing. If we are taking India Pakistan relation, so currently we'll see what is happening, say India Afghanistan. If you consider currently India Afghanistan relation, first we'll see what is the current position between India Afghanistan. Then we will rewind, go back to ancient times, colonial period, independence, and then contemporary times. So you will get a evolution, proper evolution, that how did we evolve our relation with Afghanistan from ancient time to the present time. Getting it? Fine. So this is how we'll be taking up each country's relationship. Now write down India-China relationship. India-China relationship. So here in India-China relationship, the basics. So now please see here. Just understand the basics. Then we'll see the. You need not write down anything over here. So this is China. This is Tibet. So the Tibet before 1951. Everyone, please focus here for 2 minutes. First, understand the basics. Then everything will be easy for you. This Tibet was an independent country up till 1951. It was an independent province, independent empire up till 1951. What happened? This China attacked Tibet in 1951 and acquired Tibet. So, but Tibet, when it was independent, it was a very close friend of India. And India, before 1947, was ruled by British. Right? This British had a very good relation with Tibet, in the sense Tibet was our very close friend to India. Got it? So India had signed a lot of agreement with Tibet. Say in terms of, please see here, in terms of the border between India and Tibet, this border, say this border, if you see here, everyone, and this basics, did you understand? Tibet up till 1951, it was an independent country, independent province, independent kingdom as such. This empire was a close friend of India when India was ruled by British. And again, since it was a close friend of India, so what British did, British signed a lot of agreement with Tibet regarding the border. See here, all this border. So what are the border that I'm marking? This borders with Tibet, right? So this is China. So before 1951, this was China. Tibet was not China. So 1951, this was China. We did not have a border with China. So what happened? 1951. This, so before 1951, we had a proper border agreement with Tibet. So China attacked Tibet, and China acquired Tibet, and now Tibet has become China. So now this is the current position. Please see here. See this image. This is the current position. Now China has acquired Tibet. So Tibet is a Chinese territory now. But this agreement, see here, this green line wala border agreement, we signed with whom? With we in that is India signed this agreement with whom? Tibet. Now Tibet is not there. So what Tibet is not there. So now what China is telling is that you signed an agreement with Tibet, that entity is not there. So as a reason, we will not respect this agreement. So this is what China is telling. Because China is considering that we will not respect this agreement that you signed with Tibet, we are having the border issues. Broad understanding. You need not write down anything. Broad understanding. Got it? So Tibet was a close friend of India that was acquired by, captured by China, or say acquired by China. Now, after Tibet acquired China, so you would have seen His Holiness Dalai Lama, right? So Dalai Lama you would have seen, right? In the TV or in the news, you would have seen Dalai Lama. So Dalai Lama was considered as a leader of Tibet. So this Tibetan government head was Dalai Lama. So this Dalai Lama, when China captured Tibet, this Dalai Lama came to India, and he is running a government, that is Tibetan government in exile. So The Dalai Lama is running a Tibetan government in exile in India. But however, it doesn't really have the raw power as such. Now everything is gone. There's no Tibet as such. Matlab there's no real power with Tibet. China has acquired Tibet and they have constructed a lot of infrastructure over there. Now Tibet is a part of China, no matter what the world says. So fine, this is the current situation that we are having. This is the main issue between India and China. This border agreement we had signed with Tibet, this Tibet is no more there. Because of that, there is a border issue that we are having. This is the main issue between India and China. And the second issue that is there between India and China is that in 2000, that is post 2000, China had economic rise. So that is post 2000, China's economy started growing immensely. And here, now see here, this Indian Ocean region, you see this Indian Ocean region. In this Indian Ocean region, India is the leader. So if you see the world map, if you have a old world map, just open the world map and see. In let's see whether world map is there or not. Just open a world map and see India. So India is in the commanding position. So world map is not there in this PDF. Yeah, India is in the commanding position in the Indian Ocean. So if you just open the world map, you will get to know that is India is in the commanding position. Just one second. Fine. So India is in the commanding position in the in Indian Ocean. So in this region, India is the leader. Now China is entering into this region. So China is putting a lot of money, giving a lot of money to Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Pakistan, Maldives. So these countries, this is Pakistan, Maldives, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Myanmar. To all these countries, China is giving a lot of money. So as a reason, these countries are now tilting towards China. Earlier, India was the big leader over here in this region. India was the leader. Now China has got a lot of money. So China is investing in Pakistan, Maldives, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Myanmar. So all the regions surrounding India, so Pakistan, China is influencing. So this is another issue. There are two major issues that is with China. So one is border. So this is the border dispute, and the second one is China is challenging India's hegemony in Indian Ocean. We never told that we are a Vishwaguru. No, no. We were also, in fact, today also we are the most important player in the Indian Ocean region. So even today, it is called as India is called as a net security provider. Your entire Indian Ocean is controlled by India. All the trade movements in Indian Ocean is controlled by India. Even today, all the trade that happens in Indian Ocean is controlled by India. Controlled in the sense we have our navy presence. Our navy presence is so strong that this entire Indian Ocean is under India's control. Now, in the post 2000s, mainly after 2013, note this year, after 2013, China has started putting a lot of money in Pakistan, Maldives, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Myanmar. So, and these countries earlier who were respecting India and who were looking at India for any help have now started moving towards China. Got it? They have now started moving towards China, and this has created an issue. So this is the basics between India and China. Understood? So now what we'll do is that we will see from ancient India and how we came from ancient times till the present times. In ancient time, what was the relation? During colonial times, what was the relation? During post-independence, what was the relation? And currently, this is the relationship. Getting it? So this evolution we will see now. Got it? Any doubt over here? The basic is one is border disputes, one is China's rise. China's rise where? In Indian Ocean. So earlier India was the leader. So now China is challenging India's position in Indian Ocean. And again China is also challenging USA in global position. So China is challenging USA in global level. We don't call ourselves as a global leader as such. We are a leader in Asian region, but China is challenging us in Asia at a global level. China is challenging USA. Fine. So this is the basics that you have to know. Any doubt over here? So now let us see the evolution. That is India-China evolution. After Tibet acquired, after China acquired Tibet, Dalai Lama came to India. It was not before. Okay, so right down here, evolution of Sino-India relationship, evolution of Sino-India relation, or so India-China relationship, evolution of Sino-India relation, or say India-China relationship. Nishant, why didn't we support Tibet? Yeah, we were a new country. India was a new country, newly independent country. We did not have food to eat. When we got independence, we did not have food to eat. Indians did not have food to eat. We had to get cheap food grains from North America. So that was the condition. Okay, so we'll see to it. Okay, so right on this evolution of India-China relationship. See here, ancient times. So here you need to focus. So in ancient times, so India had a relationship for trade and cultural exchange. So if you see the ancient times, so this is called as, everyone please focus on this map. So this is called as Silk Road. So Silk Road, there was Silk Road via water, that is via sea, and there was Silk Road via land. So why it is called as a Silk Road? Because China was famous for silk manufacturing. So China was the biggest player who was exporting silk during the ancient times. So China used to export its silk via this road. So via this route. So that is why it is called a Silk Road. Silk Road, there are two angles. One is on land and next one is on water. So Silk Road is via water also silk was exported from China, via land also silk was exported. So since ancient times, India had a trade and cultural exchanges via Silk Route. So right on here, first one right on, single points. Early relation or say ancient times, ancient period, ancient period, ancient period. So right on here, ancient period. So right on India. India had trade relation with China. India had trade relation. India had trade relation with China. Trade relation with China. With China via Silk Route. Via Silk Route. Via Silk Road. Fine. Again, here, please, everyone focus here. This is your Silk Road. You should remember what is Silk Road, because the current president of China, the current head of China, is reviving this one. You would have seen in news, right? BRI, Belt and Road Initiative. Belt and Road Initiative is nothing but revival of ancient Silk Road. in ancient Silk Road, China was exporting their goods, that is mainly silk, from this thing, Silk Road. So the trade relation with China, early from since ancient times, we had trade relation with China via Silk Road. And what was the trade that was going on? That is, India was importing silk, and from China, India was importing silk, and India was exporting spices. So India was exporting spices to China. So right on this, India was exporting spices to China and importing silk paper, silk, silk, papers. Fine. So this was the trade route, ancient times. And the next one, right up, Buddhism. Next point, right up, Buddhism, which originated in India. That originated in India. Buddhism that originated in India, spread spread to China, via Silk Route, spread to China via Silk Route, spread to China via Silk Route. Fine. So this was our ancient relation with China. Now during colonial times, so write down here, colonial period relations, colonial period relations. See here, in world history, you would have studied something called as a Manchu dynasty, or say king. King, king dynasty, king dynasty or Manchu dynasty. So this during when India was under British rule, please focus here. When India was under British rule, uh, in China, this king dynasty was ruling. So this Tibet was an independent province in itself. It was like an independent country in itself. Please, everyone focus here. So there's something called as a buffer state. So buffer state. So buffer state concept. So understand what is this buffer state concept in order to understand the importance of Tibet. So on this side, see here, this side we had King dynasty. That's a Manchu dynasty. That was a very big empire. So this side we had a big empire, and India is also a very big country. So when two big countries are close to each other, obviously one would be scared of others. That is, in there is a threat from this India towards the King dynasty, and this is also powerful dynasty. From this dynasty, even India has a threat. So in order to minimize the threat, so there's a concept called as a buffer state. So in between, we create, or say we consider, a small country in between two big countries as a buffer state. So buffer state, in the sense here, Tibet was considered as a buffer state. If this dynasty tries to attack India, it has to come via Tibet. So they have to travel via Tibet. So India will get time to protect ourselves. Similarly, if India tries to attack China, so China was also considering Tibet as a buffer state. That is a king dynasty that was there in China. Even it was also considering Tibet as a buffer state. If India tries to attack King dynasty, we have to travel via Tibet. So it gives time for them to protect themselves. So this is called as a buffer state. So between two big states, we can if there is any small state, so that is considered as a buffer state. Between two big empires, there would be a small empire or a small province. This small province is called as a buffer state between two big empires. So here India was ruled by British Empire. So this China was ruled by King Empire. So big empires. So there we had Tibet as a buffer state. So in order to maintain buffer state, this British Empire, so that is British India, maintained a very close relation with Tibet during the colonial period. Fine. So see here, during colonial period, we were maintaining a good relationship with Tibet. So as a reason, and again here, with respect to Tibet, India was a powerful entity. That is, your British Empire was a powerful entity. Please consider here, with respect to Tibet, India was a powerful entity. So India, that is British India. See here, British. When you take up Nepal, you will get to know we had one Anglo-Nepal war. So there was a war between British India and Nepal. Nepal got defeated. So similarly, but however, we did not have a war with Tibet because British Empire was so powerful. British India was so powerful. Tibet automatically became our friend, very close friend. So as a reason, what happened? Another mistake what British did was British did not take the consent of Tibet while marking the borders over here. Since British was a powerful entity, it told it, "Okay, we'll have this. This is the border." There is no major negotiations that was taken place between your British India and your Tibet. So as a reason, today what China is telling is that did you negotiate with Tibet? No. You unilaterally, that is British India, unilaterally put a border here. So should we respect? No. So this is what the current Chinese government is telling. So during colonial period, Tibet was considered as a buffer state. So right down here, Tibet was considered during colonial period. Considered Tibet was considered as a buffer state. 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 Fine. So next one, right off. British India. British India unilaterally. British India unilaterally. British India unilaterally defined borders borders of India with Tibet. With Tibet. So here I down Jammu Kashmir, JNK, that is Kashmir border, JNK, and Northeast Frontier. Northeast Frontier. Northeast Frontier. These regions, please see here on the board. So the red ink. So this regions. So this region with Tibet, we unilaterally, because why unilaterally? British Empire was a powerful empire. So Tibet was not a powerful empire. So unilaterally we did it. So this was the relation between British India and Tibet. Tibet in a sense, earlier it was not a part of China. Currently it's a part of China. Right? So now write down modern relationship. Modern relationship. So write down as a post-independence. 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 Write down. India and China. India and China established diplomatic relation in 1950s. 1950. India and China established diplomatic relation in 1950. 1950. So next point, right on 1950. In 1954, in 1954, India and China, India and China, 1964, India and China signed, in 1964, India and China signed, SIGNED, signed Panchsheel Agreement, Panchsheel Agreement, Panchsheel Agreement for peaceful coexistence, peaceful coexistence, peaceful coexistence and development, peaceful coexistence and development, peaceful coexistence and development. See what happened initially when India signed an agreement, that is in 1950. India had a diplomatic relation with started a diplomatic relation with China. In 1954, India signed a Panchsheel Agreement. Panchsheel Agreement is nothing but the Nehru's five policy was there, right? So that agreement, the Panchsheel policy was there, right? So that agreement was signed between India and China regarding developing the foreign policy between these two countries. It emphasized on peaceful coexistence and development. But however, what happened after 1954, we were having a cordial relationship up till 1962, but in between there was some issue. See, we started diplomatic relation in 1950. From 1950 to 1954, in 1954 we signed an agreement, Panchsheel Agreement. After 1954 till 1962, we were having a good relationship. But however, in between there was one issue. So what was that issue? That is here China acquired so 90 Tibet. So here write down next point, write down Tibet issue. Tibet issue. Tibet issue. Tibet issue. China annexed. China annexed. China annexed Tibet. China annexed Tibet in 1951. China annexed Tibet in 1951. China annexed Tibet in 1951. So here, see here, Tibet was our close ally. मतलब ours in the sense when British India was there, it was a close ally. So for India, Tibet was a very close ally because Tibet was seen as a buffer state because China is a big state and Tibet was considered as a buffer state. So in order to protect ourselves from China, so Tibet was considered as a buffer state. In 1951, China annexed Tibet. So this Tibet was taken over by China. So as a reason, what happened? Next one, right on. Next point, right on. India showed concerns. India showed concerns. India showed concerns and was in favor of Tibet's independence. Tibet independence was in favor of Tibet's independence. Was in favor of Tibet's independence. See, 1951, China annexed Tibet, but however, we showed concern and we supported Tibet in order to maintain their independence. But however, this did not work out. So Tibet, China did not listen to us, and China, and we are also an emerging power. So why we could not support China, Tibet? We are also an emerging power. We did not have food to eat. So where will go and support Tibet? So just we were giving them a moral support, but however nothing worked out. China completely annexed Tibet. So then what happened? So next point right down. So next point right down. India. Next point right down. India granted. Yeah. India granted. India granted asylum to Dalai Lama. India granted asylum to Dalai Lama in 1959. This irked China. This irked China. Next one, right on. Dalai Lama since 1959 is running Tibetan government, Tibet government from India. Dalai Lama since 1951 is running Tibet government from India. So this happened. So 1951, China annexed Tibet. We were against this annexation, but China did not care for India's concern. And as a reason, what happened? China started imposing its rules on Tibet. But however, Tibet was governed by Dalai Lama. So the Tibet was governed by Dalai Lama, and Dalai Lama's rule was undermined by the Chinese government. So as a reason, what happened? The Dalai Lama entered India, and we gave him asylum. We gave him proper support, and we gave him proper area to residency to stay. So we gave him asylum, and since 1959, Dalai Lama is running a government. In a sense, it's a parallel government that is running from India. But if it's a parallel government, matlab no real power as such, just for namesake, he is running a government. So His Holiness Dalai Lama is running a government. So this was a Tibet issue. But however, here you have to keep in mind that in 1954, yeah, 1954, we signed a Panchil agreement with China. So this is also parallelly going on. This Tibet issue was not a critical issue between India and China as such. We were friendly with China, but however, with respect to Tibet, we were supporting Tibet. So this was the basics of your evolution of India's foreign policy till 1959. So then what happened? See here, we write on this 1962 war. India-China 1962 war. India-China 1962 war. India-China 1962 war. So what is the reason for this India-China 1962 war? So please focus here. So what happened? Nehru, so everyone on the board. So Nehru, what did he do? Nehru initiated something called as the forward policy. It was known as a forward policy. Please everyone focus on the board. Forward policy. So what is this forward policy? Simple concept. See, China annexed Tibet. So China, if you see here, so this was the Tibet region. So this was the Tibet region. China came and annexed Tibet. So Nehru, so even though no matter who criticizes Nehru, matlab whoever criticizes Nehru, but however, it was a good move by Nehru only. There are certain mistakes, but however, more or less, it was a pragmatic approach. So since China came and annexed Tibet, so what Nehru did was Nehru initiated this forward policy. What is forward policy? This is military outpost. Military outpost. So what Nehru did was he initiated forward policy. That is along the Tibet border. Yeah, along the Tibetan border. See here, along this border, we would start building this military outpost. So this was called as your forward policy. Any doubt over here till here? Irk meaning irritate, irritate. So this got irritate, annoying. See, some what happened? Tibet was controlled by Dalai Lama. Then what happened? 1951, China annexed Tibet, and it was compromising Dalai Lama's rule over Tibet. So Dalai Lama was the head of Tibet. So China annexed Tibet. So now Dalai Lama's power was completely snatched away. So Dalai Lama came to India and he started running a parallel government in India. So India gave asylum. Fine. Okay, now please focus. Yeah, come back to this one. This 1962 war. What is the reason why 1962 war happened? Again, please keep Dalai Lama in mind. 1959, Indian government Nehru allowed Dalai Lama into India. Dalai Lama's power was taken by China, and China did not like Dalai Lama to enter India. That is, China did not like India to support Dalai Lama. See here, if India supports Dalai Lama, it indirectly means that India is against China taking over Tibet. So is this clear? So keep this in one side. Then what happened when when China annexed Tibet? So India Nehru followed something called as a forward policy. So what is this forward policy? So you know this military outpost in the sense we will keep we will construct few house or a few military infrastructure where we keep our army personnel over there with weapons. So India initiated something called as a forward policy. So in this forward policy, along the borders with China, see here, this is along the borders with China, India started developing this military outpost. Fine, India started developing this military outpost. The reason was that the idea behind this was that China has annexed India, so China has annexed Tibet. Now, China, in order to protect India, we have to create this military outpost. That was the idea. As a reason, Nehru initiated this forward policy. But what did China think? China thought that Nehru is creating this military outpost so that one fine day all these military people would enter Tibet and acquire it. So that was China. This is what China was thinking. But we had no intention, Nehru had no intention to acquire Tibet or say attack China. For our protection, we initiated this, that is, India initiated forward policy. So in 1959, we allowed Dalai Lama to enter India, and in the similar period, we started this forward policy. So China got tense, China got air, and without any negotiation or anything, on one fine day, China attacked India in 1962. So we lost that war because we were not even prepared. So China thought that this forward policy is meant to attack China. So China thought that this is an offensive move. This was not an offensive move, it was a defensive move. In order to protect ourselves, we started constructing this military outpost. We had no idea to go and attack China, but China considered that we would go and attack China. So before we attacking China, they came and attacked us. So this is what was the This is what was the reason behind India-China War 1962. Then what happened? So China acquired this region after this war. So China acquired this region. So this is your Aksai Chin. So this is your Aksai Chin. So China acquired this region. When we asked why did you acquire this region, so China told that, so this border, whatever the border, the green color border here, this border, China told that. So did you negotiate with Tibet? We did not negotiate with Tibet. In the sense, the British India did not negotiate with Tibet. Unilaterally, we decided, okay, from tomorrow, this is the border between India and Tibet. So what China told was that since you did not negotiate with Tibet properly, so we will not respect this border. So this border, and now Tibet is under China's control. So since you did not negotiate properly, so this is not a border as such. Now this will be the border. So which is the border now? As of now, this is the border now. This is the border. So this part is now acquired by China. So this is your Aksai Chin. So but however, this is an integral part of India, but China since 1961 it is under Chinese control. So this is your, we call it as LAC, line of actual control. Fine. So this is the a broad idea about your India-China war. After this 1962 war, all the governments, so Nehru was alive till 1964. So from 1962 to 1964, Nehru lost trust over China. Shastri. So after Nehru, we had Shastri. Shastri did not engage with China. Indira Gandhi did not engage with China. And then Moraji Desai also did not engage with China. Matlab, engage in the sense, proactive engagement was Rajiv Gandhi period. That is from 1962 till 1988. So there was no major diplomatic engagement in this period, 1962 to 1988. In 1988, Rajiv Gandhi went to China to restart the relationship between India and China. Getting it? So now write down this India-China War. India-China War 1962. India-China War 1962. Okay, so see here, India-China War 1962. So write down here reasons. Okay, see, there are so many people, so many arguments. See, yeah, in international relationship or say everywhere, so this things works. So one is your money, or say there's a statement, right? Economy, polity, military. Okay, if you are economically powerful, yeah, assume that you are economically powerful. Let us take Ambani or say Adani. They are economically powerful. Who is more powerful than them? Who is more powerful than them? Political entity would be more powerful than Prime Minister, ministers, MLA. They are more powerful than them. So economy can be cancelled by polity. So polity can be cancelled by military. Just know this relationship. So economy can be cancelled by polity. Polity can be cancelled by military. So if you are a military power, you can cancel political entity. So Russia is a military power. One fine day, Russia will attack Ukraine. Ukraine is a political entity. Russia is a military power. They can come and attack, so they can take away some part of Ukraine. Can someone question? No. The ultimate power lies with military. You have military power, that is the ultimate power. You have weapons, hard power is the ultimate power. It is just that India focuses on soft power because personal reasons. So hard power is the ultimate power, right? So whoever has hard power, they can control the entire region. So here China had hard power. So China's military was much more powerful than Tibet. So they could easily come and acquire. So in international relationship, all this ethics and all doesn't work. So personal interest is the most ethical thing in international relationship. Realism. So Nehru was following idealism. In realism, it is always personal interest. So China wanted to control Tibet, personal interest, increasing territory, personal interest. They had military power with them, they acquired it. So fine. So yeah, Sakshi got it. Negotiations and all doesn't work here. Okay. Military can be strengthened by money only, not necessary. Yeah, not necessary. You have money. Say for example, Ambani Adani cannot have their own military power, even though they are the richest person in India. MLA is more powerful than Ambani or Adani. Or say Prime Minister, or say any of the minister is more powerful than Ambani Adani. And military is more powerful. In India, it doesn't work, but however, military power is more powerful than polity. Military will cancel polity, polity will cancel economy. No, okay, so please see here. So write down here, Sino-India War 1962. Sino-India War 1962. Sino-India War 1962. So write down reasons. Sino-India War, or say India-China War 1962, reasons. The first one, write down. First reason is, write down, unresolved border disputes. Border Unresolved border disputes. Unresolved border dispute. Second one, India's forward policy. India's forward policy, which involves, which involved which involved establishing outposts, establishing military outpost along disputed borders, for India's security, for India's security, for India's security. Next one, right on. Chinese perception of India. Third one is China's perception of India as a threat, as a threat to its security. due to due to forward policy. Forward policy. Due to forward policy. See here, again, this forward policy, we had no intention of attacking China, but however China perceived that India would go and attack China. So this was perception. And the last one is india's support India's support to Dalai Lama, Dalai Lama in 1959. India's support to Dalai Lama in 1959. So right up, next one right up. So then what happened? So yeah, right on here. In 1962, in 1962, China attacked India suddenly. China attacked India suddenly, where India lost the war. China attacked India suddenly, where India lost the war. Where India lost the war. Right on here. Next one, right on. Outcomes of the war. Outcomes of the war. Outcomes of the war. First one, right on. China gained control over Aksai Chin. China gained control. China gained control. China gained control over Aksai Chin. China gained control over Aksai Chin. Aksai Chin. Next one, right on. Military build-up. Military build-up. See, after this 1962 war, India started developing a dedicated forces to border India and China border. So, what happened after 1962 war when India lost? Next, what India did? India started developing a dedicated forces like ITBP, ITBP, yeah, ITBP, Indo-Tibetan Border Police. So, right on here, military builder. Both India and China started both India and China started militarizing, militarizing the border region, militarizing the border region, militarizing the border region. India developed, India developed ITBP, militarizing the border region. India developed ITBP, India developed ITBP, ITBP. Indo-Tibetan Border Police. Indo-Tibetan Border Police. Aksai Chin was under our control, Nishant. Before 1962, it was under our control. Okay, the last point is diplomatic impact. Diplomatic, diplomatic impact. Diplomatic impact. It developed deep distrust, developed deep distrust, deep distrust, deep distrust between two nations. Between two nations. Developed deep distrust between two nations. Fine. So these are the outcomes of your India-Sri Lanka, India-China war. Got it. So then what happened? So next, right, phase two. Very distance and strategic maneuvering. Or say just right, 1962 to 1988. 1962 to 1988. 1962 to 1988. So right on here, first one. So 1962 till 1988, what happened? 1988. So right on, post-war distress. A post-war distress reduced diplomatic engagements. Post-war distress reduced diplomatic engagements with China. Post-war distress reduced diplomatic engagements with China. Diplomatic engagements with China. Next, what in this period? So see here, everyone please focus here. 1962 till 1988. In this period, we had two wars with Pakistan. One war was in 1965. Another war was in 1971. In these two wars, China was supporting Pakistan. Not in terms of giving weapon as such, but it was morally and to some extent it was giving support to Pakistan. So right up here, China's support for Pakistan. China's support to Pakistan increased. China's support to Pakistan increased. China's support to Pakistan increased. Okay, so Pakistan was our enemy. In 1965, we had a war with Pakistan. 1971, we had a war with Pakistan. China was supporting Pakistan in these wars. And again, in this entire period, so we did not have a good diplomatic engagement with Pakistan or with China as such. So then what happened? Normalization. So we started bridging up the relation between India and China. So right down here, normalization, normalization and limited engagement, normalization and limited engagement, 1988 till the present times. This is phase three. Yes, actually, this is phase three. This is phase three. And again, after 1988, after Rajiv Gandhi's era, so there is no major improvement as such. On and off, we are having some border disputes with China. So Rajiv Gandhi period, we tried to resolve the border issues. It did not work out. So even Vajpayee period, we had border issues. Manmohan Singh period, we had border issues. We had major issue with China during Modi's regime also regarding border issues. And currently, there are so many satellite images that show that China has started constructing various infrastructures in Indian territory. So these are the border issues that is going on. Even today, we are not having a good relation with China as such. See, the current condition. So no matter how the media hypes, forget about this TV media, whatever that comes, that doesn't show you the real picture. Please read Indian Express and the Hindu. You will get to know the current status of India's relation with our neighbors. So currently, we are not having good relation with China as such. Pakistan, we do not have good relation. Myanmar, not a very favorable relation as such. Sri Lanka, ठीक है, it is developing in the recent times. Recent times in the sense recent last 6 7 months it is developing. Earlier it was not having a we are not having a good relationship. Maldives, we are having a very bad relation with Maldives. Afghanistan, since Taliban came, we are having a very bad relation with Taliban. Nepal, not so good relation with Nepal. From say from 2015 till almost say 2022, not a great relation. It was only in the recent times. Again, here we do not have a great relation with Nepal as such. Bhutan. So currently, Bhutan is also moving slightly closer towards China, but however, it is not. It's not. It has not completely moved closer to China. Now take up Bangladesh. Bangladesh has taken a lot of investment from China, so Bangladesh has become very close ally to China, and Bangladesh is having defense deals with China. Look at this. Bangladesh is having defense deals with China, and in India, some due to some domestic politics, we had the CAA, Citizenship Amendment Act. So due to the CAA, again, our relation with Bangladesh is not very great as such. So what did we tell in CAA? We told that if there are any persecution of any minorities in Bangladesh, they can come to India. So it shows that Bangladesh is not able to protect their minorities. No? So that is the reason why Bangladesh is also, to some extent, we are having some cordial relation. But however, this is the current status of relation with our neighborhood. So whatever that was initiated in Rajiv Gandhi period, that is in 1988, we are at, even today we are in the same level. So it is not that our relationship has become very close as such. No, nothing. So it is still at the same level. Fine. Okay. So we will take up Bangladesh, that is Rajiv Gandhi's relationship, right on this. Or else fine. Tomorrow we'll continue from here, from Rajiv Gandhi era. Right? Okay. Phase three. This is your phase three. From tomorrow we'll continue. Right? Okay. So chalo then. So thank you guys. So good night. So tomorrow at 5 o'clock. Okay. So thank you guys. Thank you. Good night.